It'll say like office group room. That's what this
This is
room.
group room? Office group. Can I share the other TVs too, or just this?
Yeah, you can share it all.
So what we're doing here is just share it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool. Okay.
Screen share. We
So
won't
it's
even
that-
need
it's that little
HDMI.
TV thing.
You don't need to hook an HDMI up to the back of the TV to play it, you know? So it looks like we're using that camera for some reason.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can switch cameras. Oh, there we go. That looks better. So we're gonna wait for this guy to hop on here. Keep it in suspense. When I move this camera around, it
Good morning. Did you get all my messages for the link and everything? For the link? Yeah.
Oh, sorry. No, I don't want anything to do that. I'm sorry.
Just click.
all right, we're using that camera.
My phone's in my bag.
I got something. You know, I always ask.
Appreciate it.
I always ask.
Everybody got coffee except for me. Thanks for calling.
Coffee, where did the coffee come from?
Dunkin' Donuts.
Closers brought it.
You poured it out there?
Todd just went to grab some.
I just grabbed something, just a real quick speedway run.
Oh, okay. Speedway coffee. Like if you put a bunch of coffee out there, you mean? It sounded like you guys were like, did you get coffee out there? I thought
Can you
had
get big coffees at Speedway?
That'd be dope.
I've only got gas there. You get big tanks of gas there.
I get big tanks of gas, I get bangs, I get big bags.
Blake, Block A.
And pickled carrots.
I like to call him Blake up.
Eating chicken
Huh?
I like to call him Blake up.
Blakea?
What are those?
Blake up.
Blake up.
Like Jacob.
Jacob, Blake up.
Tostada.
Tostada.
Hey, put your cameras on if you're gonna be on the call. Here, we'll go around. Hopefully this doesn't disconnect.
Swivel.
Oh,
Maybe your daddy's always making moves, the Viking.
Way to go, Viking.
Yeah! My man.
Crushing it.
Todd with a 4K ball.
What can you say?
bomber yesterday. We needed
What can I say? There's plenty more where that came from.
that. Love it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get it.
Had 2 new people do sales yesterday. Gabe
Yep.
and Jackie.
And we-
That was beautiful.
Yeah, I'm glad Jackie got a hit.
No, I saw Nolan was hopping on here.
He's walking up and stuff.
So he hopped on. He's not on no more. Where's Hans?
He has a 9 a.m. That's what I was telling him last night. I was like, this is
But he let you know?
the last time. Yeah.
Okay. So if they got the 9 a.m., you know, try to, have them not book them when they have, guest speakers and stuff, but definitely make sure that he watches this recording of it. So while we're at it, if you guys want to get any recordings, you could just log on to Zoom, use the username opportunity@theveenaagency.com. And then you can use the password is Gio. Good morning, brother.
For you.
Is Chicago
Brother.
2020 with a capital C.
Good morning.
Yeah. And if you go on there, you could go onto, just click on recordings and you can pull up all the recordings that are recorded on the iCloud. So I believe this one's recording to the cloud as well. The group today I'm going to try to record it to the cloud so that you guys can send it out to people. And that'll be the newest, freshest one that we could send out to people.
Cool.
But yesterday was not the best group. We had one person in it. So I was like sad the whole time I was giving it. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't show that to anybody. You know what I'm saying? And then me and Drew were in here, and we were trying to get these lights set up, and they were giving a bad reflection in the background. So, oh, there we go. All right, we got our guest hopping on here, and who we waiting on? Where's no one? He's walking up.
Recession proof, yeah, baby.
Actually, yeah, we'll start it here and I'll turn it back around, actually. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started, guys. Before I jump into our guest speaker today, some of you guys may know him, some of you guys may not. Just want to congratulate us. This is 2 Tuesdays in a row where we did pretty much 14,000. Yesterday we did about 13,500. So that's super solid. Today we got to do 12,000, and that'll put us at 25,000 at halftime, which is 50 for the week. In order for us to do that, we need 100 appointments on the schedule today. So as soon as this is up, we got to do a checkup on the appointments. Like my kids had to go to doctors yesterday to get a checkup. Let's give our quick checkup today. How many appointments do we have set? And let's make sure that we have a game plan to get to 100 as a team. So if you can report or just let me know, Josh, Drew, and Gio, how many appointments we have set, then we'll know where we're at, and then we'll figure out who can cover what. You know, if Gio's at 40, he says I can get to 60. You know, if Josh is at freaking 20, he can get to 30. We got to figure that out real quick. And then we got to have a game plan to hit our afternoon call session from like 11 to 1, 10:30 to 1:30. If you can do an 11 to 1, 10:30 to 1:30 call session, and get more appointments booked for when? For today, right? Same day appointments with this company, when you book them with Calendly, have the highest show ratio and closing ratio. Check that out, right, guys? Case, can you command that? Come on, be the commander in chief on this one. All right. That's how we're gonna get into halftime. Without further ado, guys, today our guest speaker is Greg Graham. Greg Graham is the SGA right in the center of Pennsylvania, and since being the SGA out there, your territory would be Harrisburg. Where's Blakeup? Blakeup, you on a call? Make sure you get your camera on, brother. All right, there we go. Come on, man. Get that handsome mug on the screen. You make us look better, you know?
Beef up the stats.
Yeah, beef up the stats a little bit over here. Make up for Casey for us. I got to cut up on somebody. We can make, you know, you're a handsome guy, Casey. Especially when you wear your suit, you wear a tie. Casey's a sharp cat, right? So anyways, but Greg took the center of Pennsylvania, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and this past year set a record for the most production in a week out of that territory. And he's a great guy, good friend of mine. Always loved working with Greg. I remember he came to visit us plenty of times in Pittsburgh over the years. A lot. We hung out a lot. We went to visit him. He worked with Fred Hedaya. If you guys know Fred Hedaya, the legendary Fred Hedaya, that's where he come from, you know, that agency. And I think, is that Fred who promoted you, right?
It was actually Hausman. Yeah.
Hausman, okay, yeah, because Fred retired. He'd make $100,000. He worked for a company for I don't know how long, but he retired making $100,000 a month. You know, so Fred's off on Florida, and he had to give his agency up, and Hausman took it over, and then from there, that's where Greg got promoted. How long have you been in SGA, Greg?
May of 2017.
May of 2017, right?
Yeah.
So he's coming up on a good 4 years here, which would be like graduating, you know. And this guy has so much knowledge and so much wisdom from some of the best of the best in the business. He comes from just a great lineage. So I'm happy to have him on the call for us today. This is our leadership team. So we're just really excited to have you, and we'll soak up everything and anything that you got, man. So we appreciate your time today. Thanks, Greg. Bring him on. Give a round of applause for Greg.
Yeah.
Tommy, thank you so much, man. I got to tell you guys, I know some of you guys personally. I know, is Casey in there? What's up, Casey? You know, Casey and I were at leadership school together a couple times. I know some of you guys know Tommy from Pittsburgh and you know, had the loyalty and moved out there to Illinois with Tommy. But I'm imagining some of the people on the call here are like new to AIL in Illinois. Do we have people that are, you know, weren't with Tommy in Pennsylvania on the leadership team right now? Are there SAs, GAs, MGAs that started in Illinois, or is everybody like Pennsylvania born and bred?
I'm just an SA, but I came over from Pittsburgh directly to starting with them in Illinois.
Got it.
So.
I mean, I just want you guys to know, like, what a no-brainer it was for me when Tommy reached out to me and asked me to speak to the leadership team. It's like if you were a coach of a team and Michael Jordan asked you, like, hey, do you want to come watch me practice? You know, the answer to Tommy was like, however I can serve you, man, let me know, because Tommy, as a lot of you guys know, just has a resume. I mean, you are just beyond blessed to have a guy like Tommy Vina in your life, on top of just being an amazing dude in business, which, you know, the resume doesn't, you know, it precedes itself. With being a stage walker at the highest levels in this company year after year after year after year. An amazing dad, a loyal friend and father, and most importantly, like a guy that just does things with integrity and is all about serving other people. You know, anytime I've ever asked Tommy for anything over my, you know, 8+ years with the company, it's never even needed a negotiation or no, I can't do this, or how about another time? I mean, he is just a guy who just consistently has made a living of putting other people's needs before himself. And that's why he's had the success that he's had in his career, because he's really a people first guy. You know, I literally just finished doing group like 10 minutes ago. And I don't do group looking like this, but I love Tommy so much. I wanted to show the love with my new favorite t-shirt. So I got change for you guys. So I could, you know, I didn't even realize when I ordered the shirt, it's got the logo on the back too, man. That's dope. So Tommy, I just wanted to sincerely say thank you for trusting me to be able to speak with your top team members today. You know what I mean? And Tommy's a guy, it changed my life. The first time I went out to Pittsburgh, you know, there's only so many people over the course of your life. When you look back on it, you know, in your last days and years, you're going to be able to look back and say, man, if it wasn't for this person. Tommy's one of those people for me. You know, he may or may not remember this. The first time I ever went out to Pittsburgh, I was only like 3 months on the sales side of the business. I spent a year and a half working for Fred Hedaya as a W-2, as a corporate trainer, because I'm a teacher by trade. I actually taught elementary school for a decade, public school in Philly before I came to American Income. I'm a personal recruit from my wife. My wife's been, you know, with the company for 11 years. Her sister's been with the company for 13 years. So when you talk about an obligation, which I know is a word that Tommy uses a lot, like I had to have an obligation to kick ass in this business because I had too many people that put their name out for me and put their neck on the line for me, you know, and gave me their vote of confidence when I first started. How many people have done that for you and put their neck out on the line for you that you need to be, you know, giving it up for? But the first time I went out to Pittsburgh, I was only like 2 or 3 months on the agency side of the business. I just bought a new Chevy Impala, 2012 Chevy Impala with 7 miles on it. Literally bought it with 7 miles. Man, I thought I was hot. Chevy Impala. You know, I'm from the hood. I'm from North Philly. Like Impalas, that was my third Impala that I ever had, but it was my first brand new one, all black. I like to call it murdered out. Like that thing was murdered out, black on the inside, black on the outside. And when I was out in Pittsburgh for the first time, Tommy, you know, he had this Maserati he let me drive. You remember that Maz, Tom? I didn't get to drive it far because you lived like 2 minutes from the office back then. But Tommy let me, he goes, yeah, you want to drive? I'm like, man, that car's sick. He's like, yeah, you want to drive it? I was like, for real? Like, I grew up in North Philly. Like, a fancy car was a Cadillac. Not like, I still don't even know if I could spell Maserati the right way, let alone ever had the opportunity to drive one, right? So Tommy let me drive his car. I came home from Pittsburgh with a brand new car. I literally only made one car payment, and I said to my wife, I'm not driving – I'm not buying another car until it's a Maserati. You know, I fell in love with that car, and it was from Tommy. You know what I mean? And I can't have enough gratitude, and I hope you guys feel half the way about Tommy that I do, because I don't even think he knows how much he's impacted my career in such a positive way. And you guys are on your way to doing great stuff, man. Talking about doing 25K at halftime. You know, there's like 90 agencies in the company. And, you know, like not even like probably half of them do 20,000 in a week. You guys just started in the spring, and you're already doing that in a half week. Like, that's major moves. I know you had your first dance and you had your $100,000 week. Probably most of you guys were a part of that. And you guys really like became the fastest agency ever as a startup to $100,000 week. That's incredible. You guys know you have the pedigree to be doing 100,000 probably by like the end of this year, but the latest, the first quarter of next year, on a weekly day in, day out basis, if you just follow Tommy's lead, if you just run the play. So Tommy asked, you know, kind of left it open-ended for me. And when I was thinking about it over the last couple of days, I was thinking like, man, what could I impact Tommy's people with that he might not have already told them? You know what I mean? Because I know you're getting the best of the best. Like, you are getting a Harvard education from American Income when you talk about working with Tommy Vina every day. I don't know if you guys realize, like, I would pay, if he asked me to pay, I would pay like top dollar to get coached by Tommy on a day in, day out basis. The cool thing about Tommy is he never asked me for nothing. And maybe I shouldn't have said that because maybe he's going to charge me for the next call. I don't know. So I just was kind of thinking about some things that, you know, with my leadership team and maybe with you guys that could help, some things that are just overall good reminders as leaders, because, you know, some of you guys might have been in leadership for a while and be really good top producers. Like, I know Gio, like, we've never met face to face, man, but like, I see you all over, you know, back in the Arias Agencies days. And I know what a dog you are. I know what a G you are. I know how you can just ball out. And, you know, there's a difference between being great on that side of the business and being great in the leadership side of the business, right? And there's a lot to learn. Some of us may have had experience in leadership and management in other places, but I think very quickly with AIL, we learn the leadership that we provide here, the management that we provide here is way different than it was for me when I was like a bar manager in a restaurant setting. You know what I'm saying? It's just a lot different working here, especially when you're trying to lead independent contractors as opposed to like W-2s, people that are just going to listen to you because they have to, because you're their quote unquote boss, you know? And you know, I don't know how much you guys are involved in the interviewing process, you know, any amount of time with the company. I mean, Tommy, you've probably interviewed close to 10,000 people in your time with the company, you know, and over that time, it's like people always tell you like, oh yeah, I managed like 50, 100, 150 people. And I always think in my head, like, you know, like, play it please. That's, if you had that many people, like, that's probably all you did was manage them. That's probably all you did was manage them. Like, you probably didn't lead them, because it's really hard to lead like 3 people, let alone 50. Like, if you're going to bang your chest that you led 100 people, you probably didn't know most of their names or what was important to them, their family, or what kind of car they drove, you know? And that, I know Tommy did when he had that many people in his RGA deal in multiple states. But that's something that, you know, is taught and comes with a lot of time. So it's really hard to provide effective leadership to a mass group of people like we all are motivated to do, right? Because we're all on this call because at some point in our career, we've chosen a path to help coach, lead, train, mentor other people physically, spiritually, and business to the point where we're going to allow their results to dictate our paycheck. Does that make sense? So we got to provide like top-notch executive level leadership to be able to do that the right way. So I just wrote down some things as reminders as leaders, because I know anything, like I probably couldn't bring you any new content that Tommy Vina hasn't already blessed you with. So I just wrote down some things as reminders that might be good to go back and check the box on for some of us when it comes to leadership. The first thing I wrote down is like, we've chosen to be in leadership because we want to be in a position where we're not doing most of the work. Now, we realize when we get into leadership, we're doing a lot of work. It's just different work, right? When I say we don't want to be doing most of the work, you guys, I think you know what I mean, in the sense that like, we don't want to be the ones running all 100 of those appointments that Tommy just talked about. Do y'all feel me on that? You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't want to be doing all that. We don't want to write all the premium. I know there's probably people on the call who could drop 25 racks in half a week, but I'd rather, you know, ask 25 people to do that versus one person to do that, right? So since you're going to be the one that's not doing most of the work, one of the things we got to do in leadership is like clearing the roadblocks for people. We got to focus on making our people's lives easier. Sometimes in leadership, we get real good at making things harder for people, muddying the waters up, making their life more difficult. You know, John Maxwell said, leaders become great not because of their power, but because of how many people they empower, right? So the biggest thing that I might see hold people up in leadership and stop their growth is that they're selfish with responsibilities and just want to keep everything themselves and not give any responsibilities away. We got to make things easier for our people by teaching them to do it the right way so we can give it away. You don't want to be doing all the groups. You don't want to be doing all the finals. You don't want to be doing all the setting, the selling, the training. I'm assuming. Otherwise, you'd be on an agency call, not a leadership call. So your job is going to be to make things as easy as possible for your team members. So pinpoint the areas where you can really make things easy for your people. And don't be a major in the minors and focus on all the dumb shit that doesn't matter. Like, there's only a couple things you really need to focus on with people. Appointment setting, especially in the virtual world. We got to make our people black belt on the phones. We got to have a high level of appointments because we know the conversion rate is a little bit different than it was when we were in the field. Are you guys all virtual or are you back in the field a little bit? Half and half? Got it. So focus on one thing and just pound it for a while. You know, Shaquille O'Neal finished in the top 10 in scoring in NBA history as a 50% free throw shooter. Do you know if he finished his career as a 70% free throw shooter, he would have been the #1 scorer in NBA history by like 6,000, 7,000 points. It wouldn't even have been close. So why didn't he? He didn't take the time to like really pound out the practicing. So if I was training a brand new agent, I would make sure that like before I start talking to them about the next thing, I'm going to focus on this one thing until they're an expert in it. The good news is with focused practice, it shouldn't take more than a couple days to get somebody really good at one part of the business, right? Like how long, Nolan, would we have to spend together, me just hitting you with, I can't afford it, I can't afford it, I can't afford it, I can't afford it, until you could hit me with an instant response, right? It shouldn't take more than a half an hour to an hour of like focused energy and work in a classroom setting. So find the areas where you can really make things easier for people to build their confidence, and it'll make your job a little bit easier. Second thing I wrote down It's a show me business, not a tell me business. You guys know this. Nobody wants a leader that just talks about it. Don't tell somebody to do something that you haven't first shown them how to do. It's one of the laziest things in leadership when people complain about a new agent that can't do this and can't do that and can't do this. Well, I know, Tommy probably wasn't born an amazing RGA. He probably wasn't born an amazing SGA. You probably weren't born an amazing life insurance sales agent. So the next time you want to complain about something your agent can't do, just write these 3 letters down. It's the hardest question to ask yourself in leadership. WHY. Why do they suck at it? Because you know what the answer is going to be? It's going to be because you didn't teach it to them good enough. See, when you start asking yourself why, you're going to really grow. You're really going to mature in business and in leadership, because it becomes a very challenging question to ask. I ask my leaders this all the time. Joe he can't close. Why not? Well, he just don't know think about it rebuttal. Why not? Well, he's not studying. Why not? Because we're always going to get to the point where the answer is on us in leadership. We could have done more. We could have given more. We could have been better. Don't tell somebody to do something you're not willing to show them how to do and work with them relentlessly on doing. Why waste their time? Don't think that you can just show them one. Like, did somebody just have to show you how to close one time and then you were just a G at it? And you were just the best closer on the team? Look, some people are born with skill. You can't, or the talent. You can't teach that. Closing's not a talent, though. It's a skill. You can work on it. So if your people aren't good in areas, that's on you. You're not showing them enough. Like, training doesn't stop when we release an agent, right? Like, we got to continue to show them the right way to do things every single day. Like my 3-year-old daughter, she's potty trained, but she just had an accident 3 days ago. That's like your agent, they're released. They can close some deals, but you're going to have to go back and continue to revisit some of those basic level disciplines with them and continue to show them the right way. When you show somebody how to do something, you take the excuses away from them completely. I netted over $100,000 of personal production last year as an SGA for 2 reasons. 1, I love the hell out of my daughters. The contract gets better at every single level. Your renewal piece gets better at every single level. And I'm going to pass away at some point. I turned 38 today. I know I'm not going to turn 138 100 years from now. So at some point, I'm going to have some stuff I want to give away.
Hey, happy birthday, man. Nobody
Thank
knew
you,
that.
guys. Thank you.
What? It's your birthday and you spit some fire to us, man. How about this?
Of course. It's the best present I could give myself is to help you guys today, So we're going to have some shit to give away at some point. Let's make it worthwhile. Like what we do when I write $100,000 in production, not that that's amazing but as an SGA, you don't find too many SGAs that do that. What you do when you do that is you take the excuses away from your people. I can't have an MGA on my team tell me why they didn't net $100,000 last year, because I'm doing more than them. I have higher responsibilities, and that's not to pat myself on the back. That's just what comes with the contract, right? So the more you show people how to do it, you're going to make it easier for them. You continue to show them that you ain't like an old dog because as soon as you start to talk about the shit you used to do is when you know you're old, right? You got to talk about the stuff that you're doing now or about to do. Nobody's better at that than Tommy Vina. Tommy will tell you I don't know how quickly you guys are going to get to that 1,000 agent mark. I know you're going to get there. Third thing I wrote down is it doesn't matter how long you stand behind somebody. It won't make them work faster. I think about it when I was a teacher. So I taught 5th grade, 10-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 11-year-olds, right? I didn't give just Blake a math sheet and say, Blake, do this math sheet, and then stare at him while he was doing it, right? If you think about when you were in school, what'd your teacher do? They gave you something to do, and then what'd they do? They walked away. because what were they expect? They were expecting you to do it, right? So when you tell your team, hey guys, like we need to have 100 appointments today as an agency, are you going to sit and stare at them, make every single phone call? I mean, in the virtual world, you can a little bit more. We can get in our Zoom rooms and our breakout rooms and all that, but you probably got other shit to do too. Give people a directive. Give them clear expectations. Do your people know, like Tommy knows, for us to be at this point by halftime, we need this many appointments? Do your people know if you ain't at where you need to be with your appointment count, do they know how many calls they need to make to get the amount of appointments you're telling them they need to get? Give them the expectations. Establish the accountability. Because expectations are worthless if there's no accountability with them. Give them the directive, give them the expectations, give them the accountability, and then move on. And wait for the results to come in and be reported. But we got to give people space and freedom to succeed, and sometimes room and space and freedom to fail. Like the stories that you tell your agents about what you learned in business probably isn't about all the championships you won. It's not about all your good days. Those aren't motivating stories. What are the motivating stories? Days when you got your ass kicked. That's where you learn your lessons. So sometimes we got to give people that space to fail. Give them the directive, give them the expectations, give them the accountability, but then give them the space. Let them work their way through it. Check up on how they're doing, right? Like if Tommy said to me, hey, Greg, I need your team to set 100 appointments today. Like he's not going to check with me every 10 minutes, but probably every hour or two, he's going to be checking in with me. A leader knows the way, goes the way, but most importantly, shows the way, right? You guys, I'm sure have heard that before. You know, no one likes to be micromanaged. So just make sure that you're like giving them that directive and then checking up on the results. But like, don't be breathing down somebody's neck all the time either. Like give them some space. There's going to be some people that earn more space than others too, right? That probably makes sense. Like some people in your deal, some people in my deal, like I know I don't have to check on them every half hour, every hour. And some people, I feel like I should be checking on them every 30 seconds. You know what I'm saying? ADD moments like I have all the time. Like they're just on to the next. Fourth thing, I kind of talked about it earlier, but look, if you give somebody a job to do who doesn't have the skills, if you give somebody a job to do who doesn't have the time, if you give somebody a job to do that doesn't have the tools, it's your fault when they fail, not theirs. It's like the number one complaint the company gets when people do fail with our company. Man, I felt like my training could have been better. You know, I remember Tommy telling me this, either Tommy or Simon, one of the two, when it came to like release meetings. Early on in my career, said every time you want to put an agent up for a release meeting, think about it like your brother or your sister. Would you feel like if that was your blood, you'd be okay putting that person in a release meeting? I still use that. I learned that. I heard that for the first time 8 years ago. I still use it today. It couldn't be truer. Like we got to give people the tools and the time and the skills to be successful. So where does that come from? You got to know their strengths. Some people are just good on the phone. Like I was just good on the phone when I started. I was just good on the phone. Couldn't close the door, but I could set you all the appointments you needed. I didn't know what the hell to do when I got there, but I could get them. So know people's strengths, know their weaknesses, and put them in a position to win. You know, they fed me leads because I could set a lot of appointments when I was brand new, because they knew that I could close 1 out of 3 and I would have enough appointments set that I could get in 3, 4, 5, 6 presentations in a day, right? But if they put me in an area where it's harder to get appointments set and I was only going out with like, you know, I know some areas outside of Philly where I started, like more suburban areas, tough to get appointments in. I don't know if it's like some of those areas like that around where you guys are at now or in Pittsburgh or whatever. But, you know, it's always a little bit easier for us to get appointments in like a more urban area, like a lower income area, especially with referrals, like I knew I could set 11, 12 appointments a day and get in 4 pitches, you know, but if you put me in an area where nobody answers the phone, it's harder to get appointments, you got to be a door knock master, I might not have had the success I did in the beginning because I wouldn't have been able to get in the activity. Whereas there was a dude that worked in our agency when I was in MGA, another MGA. I don't know if you remember him or ever met him, Tommy Shorn Brown, big Jamaican guy. You could set like dinner table on his back. This dude's shoulders were like as wide as a Volkswagen. It's nuts. But like that dude, he could rip more premium with 1 appointment in a day than anybody I ever seen. You know, so that was his strength. Door knocking, going out, generating activity, creating something from nothing. You know, so you got to know your people like that. The Bulls weren't going to ask Steve Kerr to box out. They were going to ask him to stand out on the perimeter and be ready to shoot. So when MJ put the ball in his hands, he could put it up and hit the shot, right? So you got to know your roster. You got to know your roster of people. Sometimes people surprise you, but let people play to their strengths. Because what does it do for a new agent? It builds their confidence, right? So while they're building their confidence, playing to their strengths, we're going to be more likely to retain that person, and then they're going to build their skills in other areas. You know, Tommy said it, like, I'm only in my junior year as an SGA. Like, I'm undergrad. I still got a lot of work to do. You're not going to be an expert overnight. I also wrote down every mistake doesn't need to be punished. Nobody likes getting punished. Well, I guess there's some people that like getting punished. What do they call them? Like masochists or whatever. But most people don't like getting punished. So we got to pick and choose our battles. You know, I had to talk about this with one of my younger leaders actually earlier this week. Like, because I was just observing him, phone training one of his new agents. I'm like, bro, why are you like jumping on every, like, I think the girl, if she didn't sneeze the right way, you would have had some shit to say to her. Like, you don't have to correct every single thing, especially, and I'm sure you guys know this, in front of other people, right? We want to build people up publicly. When you got some coaching to give it in a private setting. You know, so if you're in a phone room, you just pull somebody out of the phone room. Hey, Tom, let me just grab you for a minute. I just wanted to talk to you about something real quick. Because like the agent that just got their ass kicked on the phone, they know they got their ass kicked on the phone, bro. They don't need you to remind them. So like, if you're going to choose to punish a mistake, sometimes it's better to like let it simmer for a little bit before you jump on it right away. Does that make sense? These people are not dogs. Like when your dog pisses on the floor, if you didn't see it for a couple hours, you can't beat your dog. Your dog's not going to know why it's getting beat. Does that make sense? Like your agent will remember a half an hour later, the phone call they got their ass kicked on. You can come back to it. They're already losing confidence and feeling bad right after the phone call. They don't need you to tell them how bad of a job they did right away. Like you're not helping that person. You're adding to the problem, not providing a solution. So not every mistake has to like get a punishment all the time. And it's hard for us in leadership because we're in a position that we're in for a reason. And we all have really high standards for ourselves and other people. You would not get to the position that you're in the organization that you're in, with the pedigree and DNA that organization has, if you weren't a friggin' animal. But you might not have been born that way at American Income. You might have needed some polishing at American Income to get to animal status. And regardless of where you're at and what status you are, you still got work to do. We all do. So don't like imagine how you would feel if every time you made a mistake, Tommy was just screaming and yelling at you. Unless he does that. I don't think Tommy does that. He does with a smile too. I've never seen nobody like come down on me or anybody that they work with. And like, you know, it's a skill when you like coach people and go in on them and they thank you, right? Like how many times, Tommy, you talk to somebody and you're really going in on them, and like maybe one of your leaders is watching you and you go in on a new agent, and at the end of it, they're like, thank you so much. And then the manager's like, man, you just tore that person a new asshole, and they were thanking you for it by the end of it. You know, that's a skill that takes time, guys, you know? So watch what your coaches are doing, because you got some great coaches, you know? So like for us, for example, like at our agency huddles, I used to lock the door at our agency huddles at 2:00. Like, you just didn't come in. That's a pretty big punishment because it's embarrassing and all this stuff. Like, you're not allowed in, you can't hear the message, blah, blah, blah. But now we'll leave the door open. But if somebody walks in late, we stop the meeting. Everybody turns around and we just boo them. Boo. So it's like fun. It's a fun, you know what I mean? Everybody knows like it's embarrassing, but it's not like as much of a punishment, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? And nobody wants to get booed. So that person's probably not going to make that mistake again. I wrote down about your work-life balance, man. This is really important. This is really important for your people, but it's just as important for you. It's probably more important for you than your people. 168 hours, man. I woke up late today. I was so pissed. I woke up at 5 instead of 4:30. I was like, I got out of bed. My ass was on fire. You know, them mornings where you don't even need coffee or you don't even need a bang or nothing like that because you're late. I'm like, that's late for me. I don't know what it is for you, but you got to find a balance in what you're doing. You know, I was listening to 50 Cent this morning. I don't know if you guys like listen to his book at all or read his book. I forget the name of it. I'm just looking at it right now. Hold on. It's like what is it? Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter. And he's talking about in the second chapter about how different things he does to keep his life balanced, but how important sleep is to him too. If you look at Jeff Bezos, he always talks about being disciplined with 8 hours of sleep per day. 50 says it's one of the areas he knows he needs to get better in is getting more sleep. Look, we all know there's going to be times where you need to grind. You know, when we were having our $100,000 week, the first week of June, when you guys did yours, what was that, in April, I think, right? At the end of April? Like, you know what? That kind of week, most of your 168 hours is going to work. Not a lot of work-life balance there. I'm sure you guys would agree, right? Like, you might be sleeping in the car for 10 minutes in between appointments or something like that, just trying to grab a power nap. But you need to take a break sometimes to take care of yourself. And that all comes from, you guys got to be masters to your schedule. When you're disciplined to your schedule, all you got to do is follow it. I make the people on our leadership team send me pictures of their schedule every Sunday. You don't send me a schedule on Sunday, you don't get leads this week. Your team doesn't get leads this week. You don't get an opportunity to like get new vendor leads, POS leads, hard card leads. Like, sorry. I know the leads are important to you. Your schedule is important to me. So you got to make time to put your schedule together. You know, the example I would use is like if anybody ever played the game Space Invaders, like on level 1, it's mad easy because you're at the bottom of the screen and all the aliens are coming down, but they're coming down slow. So you can be real strategic with how you shoot them. You know what I'm saying? It's not even that hard. But what happens as you go further along in the game, the aliens come down faster. And if you're not doing a good job, you're not shooting the aliens with strategy. You're not shooting the aliens to get to the next level. You're just shooting to what? Survive. If you don't stay disciplined to a schedule, all you're going to be doing every day is you're going to be on the last level of Space Invaders. You're just trying to survive. You're just taking what comes next and not thinking about having no strategy with it, just literally taking the next thing. It's real easy to say no to somebody when you got like a schedule put together, because then I don't have to say, you know, I said it to Tommy when he asked me to talk with you guys this morning, right? I said, I got group. I can't be there at 9. I can be there at 9:50. He's all right, cool, just hop on. Like, there's things in the schedule that just can't be negotiated. So when you put your schedule together, you're going to model good behavior for yourself, your family, and your people. And it's way easier because I bet if you ever complained about, man, I'm so busy, I'm working so much, I don't have time, that's the first thing I'll say to somebody, let me see your schedule. Oh, I don't have one. Let me get that to you in a couple days. No, that just means you don't have shit written down. So of course you're feeling tired. Of course you're feeling exhausted because you're just taking everything as it comes every day. You will not talk to somebody that's a millionaire that ever tells you like they don't have a schedule that they stick to every single day. And you can still sleep 8 hours a week or 8 hours a night like Jeff Bezos, and that's still 8 hours a week, might be a little extreme. 8 hours a night, 60, what's that, 56 hours for the week, that still leaves you 100 and some, 110, 112 hours throughout the course of the week. Are you kidding? You can't find time to go to church. You can't find time. Like, I got 3 books here in front of me, plus listening to 50. You can't. I'm going to be taking my daughters to dance class tonight. I'm here serving my team today. When you got your schedule written out, it's easy to just execute. Here's an important one, guys. It costs nothing to say good job. It costs nothing to say good job. You know, I did a little research this morning on the Vina agency. You guys got 38 Google reviews. They're all 5 stars. Nobody on there said, man, this place sucks. They show me too much appreciation. Man, I had to leave working for the Vina agency because they told me they appreciate me too much. They made me feel too good. Nobody ever walked away from an organization putting shit like that on Glassdoor. It doesn't cost you anything to say good job. If you haven't read it, The 5-Minute Manager, great read. Quick, easy book, audio book, whatever. What's the other one? The Leadership Pill. These are quick, easy read books, basic disciplines with positive reinforcement with your team. When you tell somebody good job, all it's going to do is encourage them to do some shit again. That's all it's going to do is encourage them to do it again. I was talking with one of our GAs yesterday. I'm like, you know why your team stinks right now? It's because, like, you ain't telling anybody how much you appreciate them. You know when people get told they're appreciated? When they do what? Right business. You want to be like everybody else? You want to be like all the other shitty SAs, GAs, MGAs, RGAs? Only congratulate people. Only tell people how much you appreciate them when they make you money. And all you'll be doing is every month telling a different group of people that. Because they're just going to realize that you only tell them, man, great job, after they made you money and made themselves money. So let people, because people will hardly ever remember the words you said to them. They'll always remember how you made them feel. Always. So you got to, like, how are you making people feel? Because no one's feeling neutral about you, by the way. Like, no one walks away from a conversation with you and their meter's not moved one way or another. They're either feeling real good about you after you interact with them or not good about you after you interact with them. Does that make sense? So you get to, the nice part is you get to choose how they feel. It's going to be really easy. It's the laziest thing to do, to blame it on somebody else, tell them how crappy they are, tell them what a bad job they did. But I bet if you looked hard enough at them numbers, most of your people will give you something to, I'm not saying you lie to somebody, and I'm not saying, you know, sometimes we got to work a little bit harder on it, right? Like sometimes it's just like in my head, I'm watching the new agent like present and it's a train wreck. And we get back in the car and I got to tell him, like, Tommy, that was a really good, like the way you knocked on the door there was great. You know, that was the best, maybe the best knock I ever saw. You know what I mean? That was an amazing knock. In my head, I'm like, everything that happened after that was the worst thing I've ever seen. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to say that to the agent. I'm going to look for things to be positive about. Last thing I'll tell you guys is just show the behavior that you want to see. Be a model. Show the behavior you want to see. So many people chirp about loyalty today. I'll tell you what loyalty is. First time I was in Pittsburgh. I mean, just it changes your, like, you guys that were there, like, y'all don't even know how much you should appreciate the culture that you guys have. First time I was in Pittsburgh, I walk into this office, I'm like, holy shit. It just buzzes, right? It's just an aura about it. Let's keep in mind, I'm my fourth SGA. I'm my fourth SGA. My first one, Fred, like Tommy said, he retired. After Fred retired, I worked for 2 SGAs who are no longer SGAs. They're MGAs now. Why does an SGA become an MGA? Because they can't cut it, right? They didn't make the cut. I learned a lot from my 2 SGAs that are no longer SGAs, Jason Bratton and Dave Hausman, but they couldn't cut it as SGAs. I learned as much about what not to do from my SGAs as I learned what to do. You know what I'm saying? Like I had my upbringing in American Income wasn't like, you know, I didn't have the married parents all the time kind of deal. You know what I mean? So why I'm bringing that up is because loyalty, I thought I knew what loyalty was. So I went to Pittsburgh the first time. I'm out to dinner with Tommy and the rest of the top leaders. I'm sitting next to Tommy because he let me drive his Maserati. I never want to let the guy, you know, maybe he'll let me drive it again. And he just had his first son. And he said to me, man, you know, I just got 5 agents recoded from me today. I don't know if you remember this, Tommy. I'm like, what? You just got 5 agents recoded? He's like, yeah, Simon actually recoded 5 of my people because I missed a meeting this morning. He's like, you know, Tommy's been up real late. So like by the time Simon texted us about the meeting, I was asleep and I slept in. By the time I woke up, the meeting had already happened. You guys, if you know Simon, like that meeting might have happened at 6 a.m. and he might have texted you at 11:30 p.m. and expects you to be on a meeting at 6 p.m. Right? And I said to Tommy, I'm like, yo, that is messed up. You know what he said? He goes, no, it's not. That's what Simon thinks is best. So there's obviously a reason for it. Otherwise, he wouldn't do it because it's what he thinks is best. And I was like, wow. I thought I knew what loyalty was. That conversation at that dinner table when we were at the casino there in Pittsburgh, Tommy, that taught me what loyalty was. That's when you have somebody that you trust and you love and you're going to do whatever they say, however they say to do it, as long as it's legal and moral and ethical, because you know that they have your best interest in mind. So loyalty to me is like the number one quality you got to show as a leader. You got to show your agents how to be loyal. The more positively you talk about your upline, you're modeling good behavior about how they should talk to you, if that makes sense, right? So you should never say nothing bad about your upline, regardless of how you feel, in front of new agents. I mean, and I know probably most of your uplines don't even give you a reason to say nothing bad anyway. So model the behavior you want to see when it comes to loyalty, when it comes to being positive and thinking big. Like I can promise you whatever you're thinking for yourself and your team for the 4th quarter of this year and moving into 2021, whatever you're thinking, you're not thinking big enough. You're not thinking big enough. You are blessed to have a leader of your organization that is literally the biggest thinker, maybe outside of Rick Altig, in all of American Income life. Like when I talked to Tommy and asked him to speak with our team coming up on our $100,000 week, it changed our week around. That conversation we had that night, Tommy, when you were driving back to Pittsburgh to like get stuff ready to put your house up or whatever, that conversation I think is the reason that we did $100,000 that week. Because what you did is you got me to think bigger for our team by telling me about how big you're thinking. Guys, whatever you're thinking, I'm telling you is not big enough. And when you're always in the right place, the right time is always going to come. Look, show up to practice, do the work, and you're going to get recognized. You're going to get promoted. You're going to get this and that and the third thing. Everything that you could want from this company will come to you as long as you're doing the right stuff. But you can't choose the times that, here's the tricky thing about the dirty word, discipline. You can't choose the times that you want to do stuff and don't want to do stuff. You got to do the right stuff all the time. But when you're always in the right place, the right time will come. Always, 100%. So like be the beacon of light that you want other people to be. Always show people how to be in the right. Don't be late. How are you going to get mad at your agent for being late when you're late? How are you going to get mad at your agent for not being on the phones if you're not on the phones? You know what I'm saying? So guys, I'm just excited for you guys because I know, Tommy, when you guys finish out the year, I know you will. We'll probably be competing together in the same category next year because I know you guys are going to graduate up a couple categories, I'm sure. And I'm excited for that opportunity because we'll have so many more chances to like get together and influence each other's teams a lot more. And I'm really grateful. I sincerely mean that, guys, to have the trust from your SGA to be able to speak with you today. Hopefully, you got one good thing out of it that could stick. It's been an amazing year for you guys, for our team as well. But no one gives a shit who's winning at halftime. No one cares who is winning at the end of the third quarter. Matt Ryan got 0 Super Bowl rings for being up 28-3 at halftime a couple years ago. And the only reason people remember the fact that they were up 28-3 is because how bad they screwed it up. So no, it only matters the score at the end of the game. So you guys have had an amazing year, but don't be lazy. Don't get complacent. Keep your foot on the pedal in the fourth quarter so you can put yourself in an amazing position to absolutely dominate 2021. Tommy, thanks again, man, for allowing me the opportunity to speak with your guys this morning. And if there's ever anything I can do in the future, I'd love to be able to be a service to you and help you out.
Oh man, what do you guys think? Thank you, Greg. You crushed it, man. Crushed it. Absolutely killed it, man.
Well,
we really appreciate it. I'm gonna turn the camera around real quick.
I'm just trying to be like you when I grow up, Tommy. So I still got work to do, man.
I don't know about that, man. but definitely, man, we really appreciate your time. You absolutely crushed it. We all got tons of notes, guys. So
thank you.
We'll let you hop off. If you guys, I'll catch up with you a little bit here, Greg, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my number in the chat too, Tommy, so that way your people got my phone number if anybody wants to reach out.
That, guys. Make sure you write that down.
Just holler.
267-205-1359.
Yep. Yeah.
267-205-1359.
Anything I can do to help your squad out, man. Yeah. All right, Tommy. Guys, have a great day. Go get those 100 appointments. Make sure you're at 25K by halftime, all right?
Thank you.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys. If you need anything from me, let me know. Get me the appointments, and then let's crush these phones this afternoon. Get right now, find out how many appointments we're at right now, and then we'll have a game plan of how many we need, Yeah, where you at today?
So we're at 15 points today.
15 for today.
15
for today.
That's 450 calls.
Okay. And 450 calls. And how many? 5 people.
90 calls a person.
90 calls a person.
Right.
That's
2 hours, 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours.
11
Perfect.
I already set the call room.
Good job, Drew.
Wait, yeah.
So Drew's at 15. He wants to get another 15 set to be at 30. So he's going to be at 30. Way he's going to do that is he needs about 450 calls to get that done.
I got you. Okay,
Right?
so we're at 55.
You're at 55 for just today.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you're at 55. What do you think you'll be at? What do you guys think if you put in a good call session today? Because if you're at 55 and you're at 15, that puts us at 70. And then we just got to figure out Josh and Blake and you guys.
I think we're like right around.
Blake
16.
got 4.
We're right around 16.
16. Wow. Okay. So 15. So we're sitting at 85.
I got 5 points to 90.
We're at 90 a set for today. What? Holy cow. I was thinking we're going to be like at 70 based upon what I saw us set on.
Right now.
We're at 70.
All right.
We're at 70.
All right. No. All right. Let's get another 30 booked then. Let's get another 30
I
booked.
was gonna say 10 people, if we book for the next 2 hours, 2 each person, so 20 appointments.
Yeah.
Does that sound about right?
That's 1 an hour easy. Yeah. You'll put that up easy.
It's funny you said that because I
So if we could get 20, 15, and 5.
So that's 20.
That's actually.
Yeah, it's me, Blake, Jason.
You, Blake, and Javon get 5.
Yeah.
20, 15, and 5 is 40 more appointments.
Well, yeah, I got.
Okay.
It's 40 more. So let's get 40 done. Let's get it.
I was thinking about this too.
Yeah.
You go low with it?
Yeah. Let's try it. Try it now. Turn them on. We're testing the lighting in here. And I don't know about this camera.
They fixed it. It's still open.
I feel like I look skinny or weird in this thing. I look like I'm in like a mirror.
You gotta put your tie on.
I think you look good.
Thanks, Blake.
Maybe if I put a jacket on. That look more level with the top of the screen.
So it's still holding.
Look good.
They can't see that, can they?
Nope.
Can see that.
Look good. What are you talking about? See what?
There's a hole in the wall right
It's not that noticeable.
And that light, you gotta put it down a little bit because it's on the TV in the corner, right here. Plug that light on, let's see what happens.
How do you do it? Oh, just right here.
Yeah, so if we do a recording, it definitely makes a
Pop it
difference.
up too in the bottom corner. What do you suggest?
Move it forward more. Boom, yeah, a little bit down. That's good like that. Do you think that's brighter?
Yeah,
So we're gonna record this today. I still feel like this camera's wacky. Get this camera fixed.
Looks fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Can you bring it to you just a tad more?
more towards me?
Let's see.
What if it's down a little bit?
Well, you're right at the top of
The top of the frame will be cut off.
What if I lower this down?
Top of that frame getting cut off. It was good the way you had it.
Oh my.
There you go, right there.
Just a tad this way.
Again?
Right side's a little bit higher like that.
Yeah.
Oh my, yeah. I couldn't like that.
Tommy, I think it looks good like back a little bit more so you can see your podium a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I think the podium looks good, right?
Yeah, and then after you push it back, you could angle it down a little bit, and then you'll still have the whole frame. Yeah, something about the podium, you know? It means business.
Yeah. I agree. Darker? Yeah, we definitely want that darker.
Yeah, now we're getting it. Yeah, yep, a left a little bit more. Or is that your right? Yeah, that'd be your left. Yeah, right there. And now get the camera, the top right side of the camera, tilt that down a little bit. Or yeah. A little bit more. Yeah, right there. Mm.
There's too much. Yeah, it looks decent. Right? And then I could just. Oh,
What was that?
I was pushing the button. Does that look pretty good?
I think it looks good.
Have this here, have this here, have it like
I definitely
that.
like it more with the podium.
Yeah, I agree.
It kind of minimizes that dot over here too.
Yeah.
I have to fix that super easy. Just put a dab of finger in.
This looks good. The lighting's good. These aren't blinding me.
No, that's
No.
why
Oh, turn that light off, Drew.
I think down
Your
below.
complexion looks great, Tommy.
Does it look like too much lighting, too crazy, or?
No, that looks fine.
Good. I mean, yesterday the camera was really blurry for the group too. I didn't know. This is pretty clear though, right?
That could be from poor lighting a lot of the time.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is like a $300 HD webcam, and I got this so that when we record stuff, you know, we can put it on YouTube and stuff or whatever. We do a meeting and it looks good. So sounds good, looks good, and we should be good to go, right? All right,
Yeah.
cool. We're gonna have a good group on here today, recorded.
You've messed around with the settings in Zoom, right? Enable HD and touch up my appearance.
I don't know. I mean, how do you do that?
Because that shit, like, turns you from.
Oh yeah, I used to touch up my appearance. It makes me look real pretty.
How do you do that?
So if you go into, if you like click on the main Zoom thing and then you go up to your little profile in the top right corner, like on the screen where you're setting the meetings, you know what I'm
Okay.
talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so your little profile top right corner, click that. You see the little gear for settings.
Yeah, we see it.
Yeah, and then if you go to video, you'll see like
This thing does like
your video, there's a touch up my appearance option and enable
like
HD.
eliminate any lines, you know.
Put it on, see what happens.
It makes my teeth and my beard look better.
Yeah,
I want to fix this little circle right now.
Oh my gosh, Drew's fixing the circle now.
so you can see like if we could open this up, you could probably tell better.
Knock it out.
Yeah, well, you gotta turn it on there. All right, we're in. We did touch up my stuff.
Yeah, and then,
All right, cool.
and then just exit out. I guess on the Mac it's over there. And you should be able to tell if you blow your picture up.
I don't know. I can't tell.
Like yeah, you look. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. If I could only show you behind you right now. See how there's not a single wrinkle,
This
line.
stuff smells, man. We're gonna be getting high in here of paint fumes. I'm gonna be saying some crazy stuff in the group.
You got it. It's a big ass snake.
You won't even remember it.
Sure you fuck.
All right. All right, guys. Well,
See you
I'm gonna
later,
get
buddy.
this,
All right,
I'll
I'll
see
see
you.
ya.
See you guys.
Bye.